I welcome you back. This is LanceScurv X, the Scurv podcast. I just wanted to touch on a few points that might fade from my mind as the day goes by. You know how it is when you have a dream and you dream something really profound. It may not be a nightmare or anything, but you wake up and you're like, oh my God, what did that dream mean? Then you go about your day. Maybe 30 minutes or 45 minutes or an hour goes by and you're like, wait a second, I remember fragments of that dream, but I can't, and it slips away from you and it's right there. And that's the most frustrating feeling. Well, I had a dream about the world and the stress that's in the world and how many people are feeling pressure, but they also have this pressure to perform because of the whole thing of being compared, or they take their situation and compare it to other people's situation, which is not always the case, but there's a lot of that going on because of social media. And also, I think that what stoked that dream for me to have, I was in the crowd and I was speaking to people and they were all complaining about how hard things are. Well, that was a video that I saw also. It was a lady in her late 20s, young lady, and she looked as though she was living a clean, decent life. You can tell, a wholesome thing. And she was really speaking out on how she works 2 jobs, how she doesn't really go out, how she budgets and doesn't save her money, and she makes better than average money, and she's not trying to live in some expensive apartment. She doesn't do certain things. She doesn't really date. She pretty much lives a solo life. And she says she also has 5 roommates. And what kind of apartment is that? Or maybe it could be 3 bedrooms and people bunk up, 2 of them in each one. But if you're sharing one kitchen and there's 6 separate people and the 6 people have their own friends that may come by, that's kind of a crunched situation. And I had my thoughts on that because some people think that they're the only ones going through it. They're the only ones that are feeling this crunch, which it's a product of the times. And when you go on social media or look at television, for those who still look at television, right? Because most of our television and entertainment comes from our smartphone that we're holding in our hand. But nevertheless, wherever you get it from, it seems as though, aside from the news that may have a little doom and gloom, that the projection of everybody making it, everybody doing well, everybody happy, everybody fit, everybody looking good, everybody having access to taking vacations, everybody just upgrading. Okay, we're going to buy this brand new big house right now. That can psych you out. And I think that's by design to make the crunch feel even more. Because on a spiritual level, I do believe in the negative and positive forces of this universe. I can't say exactly how it is, but I feel it. I feel it. Now, my situation is a little different. I got out of America. I'm retired. I live way below my means. And I have no lust to try to impress anybody who really doesn't give a damn. I live very frugal. And I'm really breathing, meaning that before where I may have felt that there's no room to breathe, although I've been blessed in America to be able to make ends meet and a little more, but being where I am and being able to focus on my creativity and solitude, I absolutely love it, right? There's not much around me influencing me, any comparison, which I'm blind to those things anyway, because I've always been my own man. That's the way my parents raised me. But I just want to say to those people who are feeling it, and it's a lot of the younger people who thought that things would be different. You know, you're not crazy. Life really has changed over the decades. And maybe you weren't living enough to know how things were. I mean, even if you're 30 years old, you can't recall what 20 years ago was like out there in the workforce. You understand? It just doesn't work that way. You know, those of us who are a little older, we can see it. But we have to acknowledge the feeling first. A person can be working hard, budgeting, doing what they're supposed to do, and still feel like the ground keeps moving underneath them. And that perception is real. You're not crazy. Sometimes recognizing that reality is the first step toward getting your mind out of panic mode. Panic mode is not going to do anything for you. I'm not accusing or blaming, but don't get sucked into the panic mode, because that makes everything seem worse than what it is. Yes, it's real out here. There are homeless people out here. There are people on drugs that got on drugs because they needed an escape and didn't have any. Others for other reasons, past trauma, whatever. People drinking, people sexing, people gambling, these escapes. So kudos to you if you're not indulging in any of these escapes and you're facing reality head first, even though it's not comfortable, And this is not going to be a long one. I just wanted to kind of rant on different ways of looking at it. Another thing I could say is that making more doesn't always mean living better. We were taught that the answer was simply to make more money. But if the cost of everything rises along with your income, you can find yourself running faster without actually moving forward, like you're on a treadmill. Sometimes the real victory isn't earning more, it's needing less. True. See, I've detached myself from so many things that I can see people, I'm not going to say everybody in the West, but I have a different perspective after living here with the people here in the villages that are away from the big city. Because if you go to Dirty December and party and spend money in the clubs and the fancy cars and everybody dressed up and the girls in the mini skirts and the guys that are in shape and trying to flirt, that's not the real Ghana. If you come to Ghana, or if you go anywhere else and it's set up for tourists to spend money, you get caught up in that. So if you go there, you think that this is a place like New York. Yeah, there are places like it here. And I'm way up in the mountains. So the people who live in the villages don't live like that. They're living way below their means. And usually the means really isn't that extravagant at all. It's really not enough. So you have to, cut corners. You grow your own food. The little bit of money you make from exchanging the goods that you sell or create, you make sure that it goes where it has to go. And we're talking about frugal living as a lifestyle, because there are a lot of people up here, honestly, that you can call poor, but they're out in nature and they utilize all of the resources of nature. Many of us in the West, in the bigger cities, we don't do that. We don't think that way. If we want a mango, we go to the store and buy one. And usually it's GMO. You want a mango out here, you go out and pick it. And that's the goodness of living in nature and living in creation. But making more doesn't always mean you're living better, because I remember on different jobs, you'd get a little raise. A tiny raise. And all of a sudden, the insurance went up. The health insurance went up, what they take out of your check. So it's like, wait a second, I'm just a middleman for health insurance. And you're taking out different things. I'm not really gaining. Then you go to the supermarket and you purchase your groceries, and they tax you. And you're taxed again when you pay your tax. It's like, wait a second. So you feel good when you get your tax returns, but are you really getting back what they got out of you? So that's what it is. But don't let society rush you into a life you can't afford. That's another thing that many, I'm not going to blame just younger folks, but a lot of younger folks, they see how other people are projecting their lives and they think that that's real. Sometimes it is, and lots of times it's a performance. But don't let it make you rush to try to attain material goods that it's not really where you can afford it. This is a time to set your foundation. But that whole rushing thing, it's especially important for young people just starting out especially. You don't have to immediately have the apartment, the expensive car, the furniture, the vacations, the restaurants, and the lifestyle that social media tells you adulthood is supposed to look like. Why? Why are you rushing? It's there. There's nothing embarrassing about starting small. I remember back in the 1980s when a lot of folks were like, oh man, I want to get that Nissan Maxima. That Nissan, had like a duckbill kind of front. Those of you who are of that age can remember that. And a lot of the young guys, especially guys who are hustling, like that wasn't a car that was impossible to get. And they thought it was flying below the radar. But those things were like so nifty looking, man. They looked so good. And there were 50 million of them out there. And people were just buying them, especially young folks who could afford it. But then 20 years go by and I saw one of them 20 years after. And it was like so rusted. You can keep things up, but it's just to show you more and more as the years went by, you see them in somebody's yard, not running, no tires on it. You see it in the junkyard, whatever. Say, wow, that taught me a lesson. It was like, I never wanted to get one, but I used to admire them and like them, right? But imagine you get so caught up at that time, like that's the biggest, best thing, or I can't wait to get this, and I can't, that kind of pressure. And one day that car that's brand new, that truck or that vehicle that's brand new, is gonna be old. It's gonna give you problems. And that made me think, like, what's really lasting here? Why do so many people at any age, but especially at a younger age, what's put in front of them they have to get? And it's worse now because of social media. It's blasting this standard that many people would do better to think about the long term. And many of us get to a certain age and we're still the same way. Oh, I'm going to get the brand new Samsung phone. Oh, I'm going to get the new iPhone. Oh, you're going to get the new iPhone. Oh, then I got to top you. Oh, come on. Most of the people are miserable out here anyway who get caught up in that. Daggone it. Go out early in the day and take a walk and enjoy the sunrise or the sunset. Be still. Clear your mind of all this garbage that's getting you to feel miserable, and then it's going to make you feel like you can't conquer the world by buying everything anyway. Character is more important. Let's have a good conversation. Let's share ideas and project things. Let's get into some creativity. Not just me sitting amongst a pile of gadgets, miserable, thinking about how bad life is. No. I'm not doing it. I don't want any of it. I'm free. I am free. But also, there's a spiritual cost to constantly being broke. There is. People talk about financial debt, but they don't talk enough about the mental and spiritual debt that comes from constantly worrying about money. When every paycheck is already spoken for, you can lose your sense of peace, creativity, gratitude, and even hope. Now, I'm not saying make more money so you can feel good spiritually, but you're taking energy that you should focus on your spiritual growth and your mental health. And the focus is on money so much that we're starving the other parts of our being. And what do you think you're going to take with you when it's your time of transition? When you leave this earth, your body is going to be taken off like an old sweaty shirt and thrown down. You're not taking that shirt/body with you. Eventually, somehow, some way, it's going to go back to the earth. Whether you're cremated or buried, it's going back to the earth. It's going back to the earth. So why don't we feed off our spiritual more, right? And I know it's tough when you have things to take care of. You may not even have food. But just understand the focus of money, which is man-made, like so many other things, takes away from the goodness of life. I've seen people with much, much less totally happy. I took a van and went down into the villages deep, away from the big cities. And I said this before and I saw it again too. There are about maybe 8 boys kicking a ball. It wasn't even a game they were playing as far as an organized thing, like, oh yeah, we're playing soccer or what they call football here. They were just kicking the ball and the ball was like half deflated. They were kicking the ball and laughing so hard, and they were happy. They were absolutely happy. They had little slippers on. Two of them didn't have anything on their feet at all. They were just kicking the ball. They didn't mind. They didn't even care that they were getting a little dirty, but they were having fun, the joy. Ain't that something? If we can maintain that in our lives, things will be so much better. And I find myself in that place more and more. You know, when you're mentally well, laughter comes easy, right? Like when I'm cleaning up around here and I'm playing some songs that remind me of certain things and I'm singing along with it, and I start thinking about old jokes, old situations. And it's not just about, because I'm not a person who lives in the past, but I have a heck of a past. And I'm in here cracking up. Mr. Scurv was like, "You all right?" Teasing me, No, but my heart is overjoyed. And that's when you know you're healthy. Health is not just about the body. Because there are a lot of mentally sick, I'm just waking up, y'all. Mentally sick people, right? Who have healthy bodies. But then the mind is not going to let you enjoy that body. Just like you have the mental, the spiritual, the physical, the emotion, all of those components have to be topped up, meaning that filled up, healthy, rested, in balance with each other. And a lot of us don't have that. So there is a spiritual cost to being broke. We can't tie our spiritual growth into just money. Money is man-made. And this is the thing that I've said before, and you probably heard me say it a while ago. If you took 25 of your closest friends and family, now your circle might be 50 people, your circle might be 5 people, and I put you out in the woods, right? Gave you all the tools you needed. Now the tools work without electricity. Let's just use our imagination, right? You're way out somewhere in the country, far away. There's no way you can walk to the nearest city. And guess what? I gave you all $1 million. Let's just say it's 25 of you all. And I gave you all, not just $1 million, I gave you all $5 million. 25 people with $5 million cash in a bag, right? Most people would say, "Yeah, man, I'd be well off if you gave me that amount of money, but where are you going to spend it? How are you going to eat? There's no grocery store around. There's no restaurant around. You have to turn around and depend on yourselves, right? To build the structure, to live in your individual structures, to cook the food, to maintain your clothes by washing them. You're giving all of the things out there in the woods, right? We're not going to start you from scratch, but we're going to have it lean, but you have $5 million in your pocket. The money is no good because you have to make the system and realize the real system is depending on each other, our unity, our community. But the more we're away from that is the more the system has a stronghold on our lives. So the less I'm in the system, the happier I am. There are conveniences that the system can offer, but it's very seductive because it pulls you in. But if you can depend on each other, love each other, okay, the one who has medical experience, he's the doctor. That old lady can take care of the kids in her spare time, and you take care of her roof when it's leaking, because we have people who do construction in our circle. It's the value of people. And we don't see the value in each other anymore. That's the problem. We don't see the value in each other. We're going to do it on our own, the way we think. We're going to take our money and spend on what we need, and we're getting sucked down because now money, excuse my French, has us by the balls. And we can't make a move without money first instead of people first. And we're antisocial. We got our face stuck in the phone all the time. And we're not even greeting or dealing with other people. We have all of these things in our head about other people, and we're being driven away from each other, who we need, into this artificial way of living. And of course, it's easier to have nervous breakdowns. It's easier to be emotionally off and lonely. Imagine in a big city packed up with all types of people, and most of them are lonely and disconnected. I'll tell you that. They can even live amongst family, but there's something of their acknowledging the money, Oh, I have to keep up with this image on social media, which is somebody else's highlight reel. No, you really don't, but you're caught up in the illusion. It's like those 3D glasses that you can see a whole alternate universe around you. You're seeing something that's an illusion, and the reality around you, you're not even connected to, and that's most of us, and we don't even realize it. And I think that's very sad. It's really sad. And you think it's going to get better? As long as we stay attached, it's going to get worse. Let me tell you something. I think it's still used. I haven't been in New York for the longest time, but fronting. Hey man, you fronting. What does that mean? You're acting like you're somebody that you're not, or you're acting like you have more wisdom and knowledge than you actually have. From plagiarized YouTube videos where we see things and it sounds good and we go repeat it. Or you want to seem like you have more money than you actually have. So you take the rent money, the mortgage money, and go buy jewelry and go stay out and go to the club and buy everybody drinks. You're fronting, right? Who is that made this song years ago about fronting? Anyway, that's just a term, but it's a universal theme. And I'm saying it to say this: when you're feeling it out in the world and you see all these people who are fronting, they're acting, don't confuse appearance with progress. See, you can look successful and still be drowning underneath the surface. A newer car, designer clothes, expensive dinners, and a beautiful apartment doesn't necessarily mean somebody is financially secure. Sometimes the person with the modest lifestyle has far more freedom than the person trying desperately to look successful. And too many of us, I'd say, they have a percentage of that in them. I heard, Steve Jobs. Some people like him, some people say that he was a prick. I don't know, I never met the man. And I'll also bring up Albert Einstein. Steve Jobs and Albert Einstein. I heard Albert Einstein had like 10 outfits that were exactly the same. I heard Steve Jobs, like when you used to see him announce a new product and, give that little presentation, he always had like black pants and a black top, like a sweater rolled up, around his forearms. I like that concept. I'm not into, well, get this color and get that color. Now, I'm not saying that having a sense of style and changing your clothes, the way you look, or different outfits is bad. But I just don't see, me personally, I just don't see what it's all about, really. And there are times in my life when I was younger, I'd have all these nice different outfits. And I'll tell you, before I came to Ghana, I gave away 90% of my clothes. And I had about 3 closet fulls, still waking up, y'all. 3 closet full of clothes. Things that still had tags on it. I got up one night and told my wife before we moved, I said, I'm getting rid of these. Right? Drove down to where the homeless shelter is. Folks are still outside. Oh, they ran me down. They were so happy. And I felt a tremendous sense of relief from doing that. And now, my wardrobe is much smaller. I'm going to get a few pieces, but my wife always picks out things that she likes, right? It doesn't matter to me because I tell her, I said, don't bring me no lime green shirt. Don't bring me no fire engine red pants. Now, she wouldn't do that though, right? But for me, if you bought everything for me black, or I went out and bought black, I'll wear black all the time. Now, there's some people who say, well, it pulls negative energy, and I don't know about that. I don't want to think about it. Is it clean? Yes. Am I one of those guys who would get, if there was an outfit I loved, I would get 10 of them, 15 of them, and wear them every day and rotate them. While other people focus and, oh, he's wearing the same, he doesn't have no clothes. You worried about me that way? I'm free. I don't want to worry about those things. Like I did back, when was it? 1998 or 99. I got tired of going to the barber because I had to have it exact all the time. So it wasn't about going to get my hair trimmed every week. I started going in the middle of the week, like, okay, there's a couple hairs growing out. No, I'm spending too much money. Shave it all off. If it's not doing me any good, get rid of it. Just like the negative people who can be around you that may call themselves friends, but they're always looking for a way to try to make you feel bad with some roundabout, fake way of acting concerned to bring up a point that they want to have you freak out about. Get rid of them or keep them at arm's distance. But they're the ones with the health problems. They're the ones with the financial problems. They're the ones that are not happy. Don't let that stuff leak over into you, but they want to have the appearance. And I'm not going to get caught up in that game. If there's something I feel drained about or down about, I go off and I heal. So that's why these years have been the most productive for me, even with negative entities wishing for my downfall. You can look, when you see an animal out in the woods that gets sick, you don't see it. It goes off into a cave, it goes off in the woods somewhere where it can just sit still and heal. That's not just a physical way of doing things, it's also meditation. Heal. Run away from this need to appear to other people. Who cares about these people? Yes, you care about the ones you love, you care about humanity, you want things to go good for people who have good energy. Right, I understand that. I'm not saying I don't care about people. All I'm saying, and I don't have any time to wish anybody's downfall. So for those of you who have enemies, when you have an enemy or somebody who just doesn't like you and they want the worst for you, they're the ones who are poisoning themselves, right? Because they're caught up. You're living in their head rent-free, right? But as far as the appearances are concerned, it means nothing. How are you on the inside? Are you content? Are you happy? Are you laughing throughout your day? Are you enjoying your time with yourself, right? It doesn't matter to me. As a matter of fact, I'd rather you think I have nothing. That's the ultimate psych. It's like getting around people and not acting dumb, but playing a little ignorant when you're wise to so many things. Playing like you don't have a third eye, a discerning spirit, the gift of discernment. You'll see a whole lot more. It's all on how you present yourself. Let the other people dress to impress. I'm not doing that. Underestimate me while I look through you and read you like a cheap novel. And here's the other thing that a lot of younger folks go through, and they're embarrassed. And I'll tell them, if you're living with your parents, use that time. Don't be ashamed of it. You see, if you're fortunate enough to have somewhere safe to live while you're getting yourself together, that isn't automatically failure. It can be an opportunity to build savings, eliminate debt, learn skills, and establish yourself before taking on enormous obligations just to prove that you're independent. Nothing wrong with that. And many youngsters are going back home. They jumped off the launching pad too soon. And you go out there too soon, you can incur great debts. You can do things and make decisions that you're going to have to live with for the rest of your life, trying to prove you're independent. Oh, I don't mind. I'm with her. We're going to start having children. But you're just a year and a half out of your folks' home. You're in a career that's unstable. You're just barely making it yourself now, or you finally got on top of things. Why are you going to put yourself in another position? Take your time. Because when you get out there, time moves fast. It's not like, oh, I'm 25 years old now. You look around, you're 35. After 35 comes 50. Now we know that it's years in between, but getting caught up in life and paying bills and going to the job, whatever, it goes quick. And you realize that maybe you didn't have enough time to be with yourself, to know yourself. You know how many people out here don't even know themselves? Because they're so caught up, I have to make this money. I got to keep up this appearance. I have to look successful. You know, I'm ashamed. If I go back to my parents, I can't do that. Or family, if you have that opportunity. Some don't. Another thing is to stop measuring your life against somebody else's highlight reel. I always talk about this. Measuring your life against somebody else's highlight reel. You don't know what somebody sacrificed, borrowed, inherited, financed, or went into debt to create the image you're looking at. Your life doesn't have to resemble theirs to be successful. Peace is a form of wealth too. I'm not saying that happy videos and happy smiling pictures, but if that's all it is, trust me, there's something wrong. Not that you're supposed to expose yourself and say, I'm depressed today. My health is bad today. I'm lonely and nobody wants to be around me. No, I'm not saying that, because those things will never really make it up on social media. It's only the highlight reels. But it's the same type of stuff every single day from a person to say, wait a second, are they on Prozac? Do they drink coffee and Prozac in the morning time? It's always that one way. Then something's wrong. And don't follow behind that stuff, right? Do your own thing. Know that everybody has ups and downs. And don't feel bad for somebody who's only showing a projected image that screams success, screams happiness all the time, screams this stuff. Life is not like that. And I wish it could be. But when you look at social media and what people put out there, most often, they're hiding something that they don't want the world to see, or they're running away, right? See, we all have this image of making it. Do you really, really get there when you're making it? When you had that old car, you're like, when I'm making it, I'm going to get a better car. Now you have a better car. Are you making it? Oh, when I get a better job that pays more money, or a couple of side hustles to get more money, I'll be making it. And then you get there and you don't feel like, yes, I have finally arrived. See, we move the bar of where we want to be ourselves, not just the world. And the things that we thought would bring us the joy, we get there and forget that where you are now, if you are in a better place, that you prayed for this, you worked for this, you got here now. You're doing the damn thing. And there's always something else behind it. When does it end? It doesn't, right? So you have to redefine what making it means. Maybe making it isn't having the biggest house or the newest car. Maybe it's waking up without somebody calling you about a bill. Maybe it's having enough food, a roof over your head, some money saved, and the freedom to say no when something doesn't make sense for you. Me, I wake up, I decide what I'm going to do for the day. If I don't want to do anything or just lay back down in the bed an extra hour or two, I do that. To get out of the system and have that freedom, and to, look, in my mind, of course, I still have a foot in the system, but I just want to show you my mentality. Maybe it'll help. I don't need money. Now, yes, I do, to keep these lights on, to travel around, to purchase things, but I don't need it like, and that's the I'm living a life where money's not the first and foremost thing on my mind. I'm free of that thing over my head. There are no bill collectors calling me. I'm not putting myself into any debt. There's things that I can buy and purchase, but then again, I don't want it. Right? I don't want it. Where I live is the most important thing. And that's coming along just beautifully the way I want it. When I'm here, fine. But I'm not going to sit here. I might get a vehicle, and I've said that. I said that last year and the year before. Now here I am like, oh, I might get a vehicle, but I don't miss getting stuck on the side of the road. I don't miss having to change the brakes. I don't miss giving the tune-ups. I don't miss, paying money to mechanics. I just hop on something, get an Uber, and I'm where I am. Thank God for Uber. It's cost effective. I don't need it. Most of my time is spent home anyway. This place fascinates me. See? So I know myself, so I know it satisfies me. So that's making it for me. And I am happy on the level that I'm on. And anything I need to accomplish more around me physically, It will happen incrementally, but it will happen. I know I've been written off by many people who try to project that stuff onto our lives, but it must be bedazzling them now, but I don't really care. Because I know in my heart, I will always remain undefeated, even if the victory doesn't come right away. And you have to understand that. You weren't made to be a failure. The wiring of my parents that they put in me under the hood, I'm speaking, these little analogies, they wired my mind a certain way. They put the grit inside of me, the stick-to-itiveness, the discipline. That's part of me. Every day, incrementally. Keep throwing punches. Keep you in the fight. You might get knocked down, but you're still in the fight. You might get defeated for that fight, but you come back for the next 10 fights and you win. That's my mentality. You can't beat me. I won't go away. So don't let somebody projecting something out there about making it, or somebody else's highlight reel, or redefine for yourself what making it means. So you don't have to make it the way people try to project, because they're not happy when they get there either. Right? Take it, and I don't say take it easy like don't try, but back it up a little bit. And for this point, build your life around what you can sustain. I did that in my own personal situation. Ooh, and it feels good. I don't want to be a part of that Western stress anymore. I do not want it. And you have to look at what you can sustain financially, mentally, emotionally, and don't let anybody else pressure you to try to live the life they want. And this is why it's important to choose the mate that you have wisely. They might look good. They might make you feel good. They might be funny and nice to be around, but if ultimately they want something else that you cannot sustain, which they should be looking to sustain themselves, and you sustain yourself, and you can sustain yourself together. And if you have overlapping goals, morals, and what life should be, that's the most beautiful thing. But don't get with anybody who wants to pull you into what they think an extravagant lifestyle should be, when you want to live maybe in the mountains and around nature. You don't have to have a brand new car. You see what I mean? That's what it's all about. Seriously. Don't let financial pressure convince you that your life is hopeless. You can be struggling financially without being a failure. You can be behind financially without being finished. Sometimes the first victory isn't becoming wealthy. It's getting your peace back, slowing down, refusing to compete, and making decisions that give your future self some breathing room. To me, that's what it's all about. You're in your lane. You do what you need to do to bring peace to your life. And so, the bottom line is that I don't want to sit here and tell you that everything is going to be magically better tomorrow. I don't know that. But what I do know is that you cannot allow a difficult economic environment to convince you that your life has no value. You may have to live differently than the generation before you. You may have to start smaller, wait longer, buy less, build slower, and redefine success. But know that that's not defeat. Sometimes, and oftentimes, to do it that way, that's wisdom. And I know I was all over the place, but I wanted to address what I saw in that young lady's video and what I dreamt about, which her video stimulated my dreams. But you can make it. A lot of times we just have to clear out the cobwebs that are in our head of thoughts that really belong to somebody else. There are people around you, possibly, that shapeshift. And you have to be spiritually attuned to know what they're doing. See, you might build a house with 10 rooms, and they'll congratulate you on that and say, if you had 12 rooms to make it feel like you're not doing anything, or to make you feel pressure to keep up with what they're projecting. Oh, you need to have a built-in gym. It'd be nice if you had that. Oh, I saw on a television show where they had a movie room. You should have a movie room. Stop moving my bar. I'm doing what I want to do. I've even superseded all expectations. And you have these people that don't want to know that you're saturated in your own personal success, right? I'm not saying, I don't even count the rooms in my house. I don't even know, but I'm just saying, I'm not saying it has to be that. It could be, look, I knew a young lady who went through tremendous trauma in her life, and she had a studio apartment that she owned. She was in relationships where people put her in great debt, right? She allowed them to pull her into that. I'm not going to say a name. I haven't spoken to her in years. We just lost contact. But she had like 4 or 5 miscarriages. And she had been abused physically and emotionally and mentally in relationships. Her parents treated her bad. She was disowned and everything that you could think of. But she slowly climbed up. And there were times that she had things that people used her for. But now she was, I don't know about now, but I know a couple of years ago, and I think she's still okay. I got to reach out to her. I mean, it's just one of those things. But she had this studio apartment that she owned. And you have fees you have to pay, but for her, it was like very small. And she spends time with herself. She has 2 or 3 close friends that come around to visit her. She chooses not to be in a relationship, and she's open to it, but not right now, at that time. And she told me, Lance, this is the happiest I have ever been in my life. What she went through with her body, getting with people that she thought that she would be with and trying to have children, and, having the miscarriages like that, the disappointments, and people passing away, and people betraying her, men using her being down on herself, her feeling that she wasn't attractive. And she's very attractive, but she never thought so. Because when she was younger, she was taught otherwise. You understand where I'm going with this? So she feels totally successful, and she doesn't have to change. She drives a vehicle that's not old. It's not brand spanking new. It's about 3 or 4 years old. It runs well at that time. And she was totally happy, and she knew how to keep her guard up from allowing other entities to come into her life to either redefine what she should be doing or influence her that, your life that you're living, it's nothing now. Because she has friends that would throw off on her. Friends that when they were younger, for some reason, they didn't know what she was going through. But now that the friends are so-called successful and have more, she knows that they're tearing their hair out on how they got to pay their bills, and they're never home because they got to work so much. They're miserable, but they're trying to throw off on her on that level that, you're living in this small place. She says, I own it. And she doesn't have to explain. But you can get a better car. You can trade that one. No. I'm happy. I'm saving cash without even trying. You keep your footprint smaller and don't get caught up in what the world is pushing. I know it can be hard. I know it can be challenging, but make the increments that you move forward with a little smaller and digestible. You can have a 1,000-mile walk that you need to do in front of you. And one day you walk 25 miles. The next day you walk 2 miles. The next day you might move 2 steps. The 2 steps are still moving forward. You still have the hope that you're going to get there. And maybe the next day you walk 10 miles. The main thing, if it's small increments, you're moving forward. And in this world, the way it is, even standing still and holding things at bay is a victory. Because so many people have fallen off. And that's what we don't want to have happen. So I'm readjusting my life too. There's things my thing is time. There's more behind me than there is ahead of me. So I like to utilize every minute of my day. And I'm not a stickler for that, because meditation and being quiet, and sometimes in the middle of a project or creating something, I'll just say, okay, I'm shutting it down. I'm going to go out on one of these balconies and just sit there and just look up into the sky and doze off sometime. But I'm not wasting time on things trying to prove something to somebody, trying to impress the world, or trying to keep up with somebody else's illusion. Because most of the time, that's what it is when they take time to try to prove to you how successful they are. Because your version of success may not be my version of success. Right now, I'm very successful. And my version of success does not fit into 99.99% of the population. And I'm okay with that, because I have nothing to prove that way. Just want to share those words. Hope part of it maybe have stimulated you or whatever, but if not, thanks for being here anyway. Much love to you all. LanceScurv out. Peace.